Maybe looking for last-minute love on a dating app.
But putting yourself out there may put more than just your heart at risk. Riley Wyant with the On Your Side Safety Team breaking down the dangers of online dating.
Well, Jasmine, Kurt, chances are if you talk to friends who've been on dating apps, at least one of them will have a wild story to tell. Some of them funny and harmless, but others quite the opposite. According to Pew Research, 56% of women under 50 have received either harassing comments or unwanted pictures while on a dating app. Roughly 1 in 10 received threats of physical harm.
Sometimes it can be extremely overwhelming for people, but it is become an ingrained part of our society nowadays.
About 3 in 10 Americans have used a dating app at some point in their lives, and that number is only expected to rise. While some say it's changed the dating landscape for the better, the apps have also become a breeding ground for harassment and abuse.
That's everything from, harassing comments to image-based sexual abuse, which is like sending explicit photos or asking for explicit photos. It can lead to stalking and assault.
Tyler Wallace works for Safe Harbor, a Richmond nonprofit providing support for survivors of sexual and domestic violence.
It shouldn't be on the onus of women and the people that experience violence to protect themselves. The onus should be on the perpetrators to stop perpetrating violence. But hopefully there are a few things that we can do to kind of, minimize that risk.
Let's dive into some of those safety tips. First, keep an eye out for catfishing when someone isn't who they say they are. Don't hesitate to do a little sleuthing of your own. Check them out on social media. If they don't have a profile picture or their page looks like they just created it,
that's definitely a red flag that maybe either they're not who they say they are or they're not on those apps for the right reasons.
Another obvious red flag when someone online asks for financial assistance. But there are more discreet behaviors that should also set off alarms.
When some of their stories seem disconnected or disjointed, or maybe they're just grandiose and just don't really make sense, that's a red flag. A lot of the times also we see people asking security questions. So if somebody's asking you, what street did you grow up on? Or, what's your first pet's name? That can be a definite red flag.
If you're meeting someone for the first time, ask to FaceTime or video chat before the first date.
And you should also never rely on that person for transportation. Always have your own transportation or a way to get an Uber or a Lyft. Make sure your phone is charged, and also make sure that somebody knows where you are.
Also, meet in a public place.
A lot of people assume that public parks are a good idea, but those places have a lot of areas where they can be very isolating.
Instead, opt for a coffee shop, restaurant, bar, or brewery where you're more comfortable.
We say a lot of times just to trust your instincts, like going with your gut. If something feels wrong or weird, it probably is.
Now, if you are experiencing harassment on the dating apps, make sure you report it. Also, don't hesitate to unmatch someone or use the block button. For the On Your Side Safety Team, I'm Riley Wyant. Kurt?
Thanks, Riley.